Welcome everybody to another edition of Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. Let's get into it. I'm back making a video. I haven't done it in a while, but obviously there's a lot going on in Giant Land. Even though the playoffs are going on, the New York Giants have done something monumental, something that they haven't done or we didn't think they were going to do or have a chance to do this coaching cycle, and that's hire the one, the only John Harbaugh from the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, that John Harbaugh. Somehow, by some way, the Ravens let him go. And let's get into this, right? Let's talk about it a little bit. Let's break it down. Let's chop it up. First and foremost, congrats to the Giants. You can say congrats to John Mara, Joe Shane. I ain't giving Joe Shane no props, okay? You know, he's an idiot, but he's lucky that John Harbaugh is coming in here to save his job and make everybody in that building look good. Make everybody in that building look good. They look like geniuses right now. There's a breath of fresh air in New York, right? This is almost as big as when the Giants had Pete Rozelle step in and put in George Young to help them build their franchise. That's how big and monumental this is. It's almost as big as Tom Coughlin coming in here. You know, again, at the end of an era, at the end of a time. Remember, when they were trying to get Tom Coughlin, they had 3 or 4 coaches after Bill Parcells. They were trying to get that, what's that called? New York Giant pride back. So that's why this is monumental. But let's talk about the slander that's being thrown out by fans of the Cowboys, Eagles, Ravens. Man, shut your mouths. Shut the up. Like, seriously. I got Cowboy fans yapping, oh, well, he didn't do that well in here, and he's, had some troubles. That's why he got let go. You don't stay at a place for 18 years to not go through some things. It's like a long-term relationship with somebody. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but you don't leave when the times are bad. You fight through it. And the Ravens owner and fan base are kicking this guy on the way out. Kicking him on the way out. Saying, oh, he would have been fired a week after the playoffs. Lamar is like, oh, I want to play with you, and then calls up the owner and says, I can't play with this guy. You know why? Because players are soft. They've been soft, and we continue to let them be soft. It's because of how they're brought up in this organization. Let's look at like Tom Coughlin, John Harbaugh. Let's look at them. They were brought up. Tom Coughlin was brought up in an era where his parents dealt with a lot. Great Depression, World Wars, things of that ilk, okay? That's what he was brought up in. That's who his parents are when he was going to school. So when he came to the Giants and he did all that, he learned from Parcells with the Giants in 90 when he won the Super Bowl. He went over to Boston College, and yeah, he became a yeller there because you can yell at students a little bit more than professionals. Then he went to Jacksonville and did that, and people got, oh my God, oh, he's runs a hard camp, oh my God. But they were winning. They rushed him out of town, right? When he came to New York, same thing happened. But he opened up, and the players were tougher back then. They were able to take more. Harbaugh's in that same ilk. The Baltimore Ravens only had 3 coaches in their history. He was one of them, the longest tenured coach in their history. Because when franchises win, and you have competent front offices helping them, like Ozzie Newsome, you get guys that stay there a long time. This doesn't always happen. It happens with Pittsburgh. They've had 3 coaches in their history. And they've been around a lot longer than Baltimore. Okay? Everybody's trying to get that iconic coach. Tom Landry was that for the Cowboys for many years. But look what happens when those guys leave the building. Tom Coughlin, okay? We've had 4 coaches since Tom Coughlin left. McAdoo, Shermer, Judge, and now we're going to have John Harbaugh. In the time that Harbaugh has been there, you look at that. How many coaches come and go? Not many coaches get to spend damn near 2 decades with a team in the modern era of football because of free agency and everything that works out. It happened in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It doesn't happen in the mid-90s. Look at the Giants. Bill Parcells left after a couple Super Bowls. Then they had Dan Reeves. And then Jim Fossil. Then they got their hands on Tom Coughlin, who spent 10 years here, which we thought was an eternity. This guy spent 18. But people are kicking him while he's down? Oh, well, because players are, didn't like him. Or get out of my face with that nonsense. The guy's a proven winner. The guy's going to go to the Hall of Fame. The guy's built a program with guys like Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. They have many different players they're going to put up in their ring of honor. Terrell Suggs. He won a Super Bowl with not star players on the offensive side of the ball. They had consistently good starters, but there wasn't somebody you're like, oh man, this guy. And that's what the Ravens were. They didn't, even in their Super Bowl, they had a legit D, and on offense, they had players that just didn't fuck it up. And here we are. And here we are. The New York Giants monumentally moving the franchise. Everybody in the NFL is happy about it. But some fans are salty. The Cowboys are still looking for their next Tom Landry. Sure, Eagle fans, you got Nick Sirianni, but you want to kick him out the door. Because this is what happens. And this is the line I hate the most. Oh, well, they got tired of his message. What? Winning? You go watch Hard Knocks, AFC North. Tomlin walks in there and he's like, the message is winning. When you come in this building, that's what we're about. Business. They got guys crying because he's leaving. But because players are soft on the Ravens and they want to just put fannies in the seats instead of actually building a franchise, you took the player's side instead of the coach's side. And when you do that, that's what ruins your franchise. Look what happened in Green Bay. They had Mike McCarthy. They could have had that guy for years. He and Aaron Rodgers had a difference of opinions and things happened and bang, he's out. Until they realized we shouldn't let a player have this much say on what we do. And they got rid of him. They brought in Matt LaFleur. When they brought him Matt LaFleur, they still got rid of him. They're like, you know what? This ain't working. Good coaching matters. These teams get greedy and want to make a change for no reason. They want to make a change because the message is stale. No, the message is not stale. Your players just don't want to listen. If you don't want to win, you can go to the Browns. You don't want to win, you can go to all these shitty teams like Arizona or Tennessee. Look what Tennessee did. They got rid of Mike Vrabel, and they are in shambles. Mike Vrabel goes to the Patriots, and they're in the divisional round after 1 year. He just got there, and because of his pedigree, here's where he's at. You look at what the Saints did with Sean Payton. They got rid of him, stepped away, and they haven't been the same since. And now he's in Denver in the divisional round with the best team in football in the AFC conference. Like, this is what we're talking about here. The Eagles got rid of Andy Reid because he couldn't win the Super Bowl. Guess what? He goes on to Kansas City and he's won multiple Super Bowls. Meanwhile, the Eagles have cycled through two coaches. Two coaches have been in the Super Bowl. They want to fire Nick Sirianni now. You're going to have your ups and downs with teams. That's what happens when you have injuries, free agency. You know, now that the NIL is happening and players are staying longer, you need this. But we've geared the NFL and even college football towards the kids. Oh, we're going to let kids run. This ain't Madden. You can't just make up your fantasy team and hope that they do. This guy, John Harbaugh, has been a staple. Like I told you, they've had three coaches in their history. Ted Marchibroda was there for a short time. Go Google him. They had Brian Billick, who was there, won a Super Bowl, and they were competitive. And then they have John Harbaugh. In the modern era of football, that is hard to do. And to maintain a winning status, it's not like he was, he's had bad seasons. I think this is the first time they haven't been to the playoffs, and I don't even know how long. He was able to adapt after Flacco. Okay? He was there 10 years. They drafted another quarterback and adapted and made it work. Sure, he didn't win with Lamar, but he can't make Mark Andrews make a catch. He can't make Zay Flowers not fumble the football going in head first for a touchdown. He can't do those things. What he can do is build men, build leadership, build toughness, respect. Meanwhile, the Giants, who are a clown show and a laughing stock, but they don't want to believe in it. What do Giant fan base lean on? Oh, we were New York Giant pride. We haven't had that pride for a long time. We can get it back now. Because Harbaugh is going to build that. Harbaugh is going to believe in the traditions that the Giants are. He's going to instill his message and methodology towards the Giants. Guys won't be sleeping in meetings. Guys will now be better because they want to play for him. They want to be good. A guy like Jackson Dart doesn't want to be a loser. He's got the right mentality. But we have fan bases kicking him while he's down. But history shows when you get rid of a good coach who's built a program, it's hard to build that back up. Sure, some teams have done it with, Green Bay's done it with McCarthy to LaFleur. The 49ers were able to win a championship from Walsh to Seifert, right? But then Seifert goes to Carolina. It's not the same, okay? The Giants did it when they took Coughlin from the Jaguars. He was a winner, but people got so soft and salty because he was tough. That's what happens. Sean McVay has come in and changed the Rams. Sure, they won with Dick Vermeil and all things. They have some history like that. But who are you going to remember? You're going to remember Dick Vermeil and Sean McVay. Everything in between is ancillary. And Sean McVay and that team have been good for years because they understand how to run the organization. They don't just fire guys when you have a bad season, you don't make the playoffs. Look at Kyle Shanahan. We don't remember anything with the 49ers. We remember Bill Walsh and then everybody else, and then we have Kyle Shanahan. And he's had his ups and his downs. But yet, there he is winning. But we take for granted these coaches because we want some player or some shiny toy, or fan bases like, oh, the message got stale. What's stale about winning? What is stale about winning? You tell me. Because I want to win. I want to win. I'm not trying to kick Coughlin out the door. Sure, we get mad and angry in our emotions. Maybe we forget where things are. But there's no way that I don't want to win. Every week we had a chance because we had Eli Manning, we had Tom Coughlin. We knew that we're going to go in there and have a team that's not going to make mistakes. If they make mistakes on the field, then because maybe it's a lack of talent. But guys like Chase Blackburn made plays with Coughlin. Guys like Larry Donnell made plays with Coughlin. And guys like that, because they do that. John Harbaugh has had his team fighting for the playoffs in the division every year, whether it was the division title, the conference title, or even just a wild card. They've been fighting for it. And if it wasn't for a missed kick, he would probably still be there. Actually, no, he wouldn't, because the owner was like, oh, we would have fired him a week later. Why? Because you want Lamar Jackson, who's nothing without Harbaugh. You'll see. You Raven fans who are laughing when you don't win a championship in 5 years and Lamar goes off by the wayside, and you're going to be like, man, well, he was the greatest quarterback never to do nothing. Think about that. And just simmer on that while you're waiting, while you're ingesting this, because that's what you're getting when you get John Harbaugh. You're not getting, your run-of-the-mill coaches. You're getting a Hall of Fame coach. Not necessarily in his prime, but in the back nine of his career, where he probably should have ended with the Ravens, still has a little juice in him. Yeah, he's a little older, and that's not always the best for when you get a coach, but he'll build a foundation for this team that whoever inherits the team after him will hopefully have the traditions that we need. Okay? The reason why teams win is because they get guys and they keep those leaders as long as they can, and then they take that leadership and those knowledges and those nuggets of what was built, and they pass it along. You look at from Ed Reed to Terrell Suggs to, what they have now with what they're building and some of the players that they have on the team now. They've been doing that. Matthew Judons, all those guys, they've been building that. Harbaugh's going to bring that. We're going to have that lineage. This has been another edition of the Hurry Up. Hope you enjoyed that. But Giant fans, let's go. We finally have a coach. And again, puff out your chest. Start talking your shit. Start walking that walk. Start putting those jerseys back on. Because the Giants finally did something right. They finally listened and saw that, hey, we can't keep operating the same way. And unfortunately, it took the owner getting sick for them to make this monumental change. It took a seismic shift in the core values of what they had to do this. So be proud. Be loud, because we're coming. And all those haters that are talking shit now, we're the ones that are going to get the last laugh when we're fighting for the Lombardi in the next year and a half, 2 years. If not, by the end of next season. Hope you enjoyed this. You can catch me on the NFC East Real Deal Roundup. I'll be on the Hurry Up as well. This platform, this channel. Like, subscribe, hit that bell. But know this. We're back. I'm out.